What's up, Men's Physique fans, and welcome back to another video. We had two pro shows this past weekend, welcoming two new 2025 qualified Olympians to the already fast-growing qualified list. The greatest men's physique champion of all time announces that 2025 will be his last season, and after 2023, this might just be his redemption season. And Sadik Hadzovic is going natural, and our current men's physique champion gets outed for Photoshop. Guys, we have a lot to catch up on. It's been a crazy week in the men's physique community, so let's sit back, relax, and enjoy this video.
No, they wanna take it off from me, so I give what it takes. Whole life been a miracle, seen everything but a cape. Why would I stop now? Found everything on a journey, but another way. Look.
It was a stacked show this past weekend in Reno, Nevada at the Legion Sports Festival, where our top 5 finalists are all current qualified Olympians. Starting off with number 5 in Joe Manji. Coming off of a second place finish at the Sasquatch Warrior, Joe Manji finishes again in the top 5, where he is trying to get that early qualification. He looked absolutely phenomenal. And it says a lot that Joe Manji is placing 5th place here, because Joe is one of those guys who are consistently in those top 3, top 2 conversations. But nonetheless, he went against a lot of top dogs. And another guy, our 4th place finisher, Will Harris, another guy who has really made a name for himself in the 2024 season by winning the St. Pete Pro in dominating faction, and now is stepping on stage at his very first Olympia here in just a couple weeks. But nonetheless, Will has one of those physiques that is very hard to stand next to. Why? Because he is such a big guy with a massive structure, and he is one of those guys who fills out his structure. Will, if he controls his variables and comes in at 100% at these shows, like I said, he's going to be very hard to beat. He is very balanced from front to back. Again, very, very dominant presence on stage. And he brings another solid package here at Legion Sports Festival, collected data, and can guarantee he will only get better and better as he gets ready to step on the Olympia stage. And fresh off of a very impressive Tampa Pro victory, coming in at 3rd place, we have Mehdi Kabaj. Mehdi is one of those guys who controls his variables. A very high floor, a very high ceiling. One of those guys who, as long as he consistently brings that next level of conditioning, which has always been his calling card, he will always be in that top conversation. Mehdi might not have the most dominated of structure. He might not be the biggest of guys, but he is one of those guys who, very similar like the Corey Morris, I call him like the exposer, because he is one of those physiques that if you aren't on, he can easily creep in and just completely steal the show. And he's done it so many times throughout his career. A lot of times he's never the favorite going into these shows, but because of the variables that he controls, he finds himself in that conversation every time. And Mehdi brings another phenomenal package. He collects data. And the one thing I love about Mehdi is he always gets better with every show that he does. It's shown this season. And now with 2 weeks until the Olympia, you could only expect the same thing. And coming in at a very impressive 2nd place finish, we have Ryan Clark. And Ryan has made a name for himself in the 2024 season, but Ryan has been very consistent throughout his entire career. He's always been one of those guys who's been in the first call-outs, placing second, third, and now has finally punched his ticket this year and almost does it again. Going into the 2025 season. Ryan is one of those guys who also very much like Mehdi controls his variables. Again, when he's on, guys, he's on. He has very, very good detail and hardness throughout his overall physique. He's not the biggest guy, right? He has a good amount of density to his look, but he's not the tallest guy, and the structure in terms of the presence that he has on stage sometimes can hurt him. But he controls his variables, and again, can be that guy who sneaks in if that favorite on that list is just simply not on. Ryan Clark has an amazing physique. Again, very balanced from front to back. He's just an overall clean, polished look, very tight waistline, which is very important for the men's physique division nowadays. And again, he almost qualifies for the 2025 Olympia. And I can guarantee you guys this, he will qualify. It's only a matter of time for him. And the winner of the Legion Sports Festival in your 2025 qualified Olympian is Lee Jin Bo. Guys, when he walked out at prejudging, my mouth just dropped. He looked so polished, so clean, so balanced that to me, it really was no competition. Now, I do believe Ryan Clark closed the gap between prejudging and finals, and if Ryan can bring that finals package, he's going to make some noise at the Olympia. But Lee completely separated himself very early in the show at prejudging with that crazy fullness, that crazy detail, the crazy overall conditioning throughout his serratus. And again, Lee might not have the best back on stage. I do believe Ryan actually edged him out in this department. But when you take a look at this physique, it was just so polished on this day and it demanded your eye. And I believe that's why he qualified and won the Legion Sports Festival. Not to mention, he's one of the only guys who can hit that double hand on front shot. And it actually looked really good. And his chest looked absolutely insane. A lot of times when people hit that shot and they kind of spreads themselves out a little bit more, it kind of takes away from that pop in your chest, but it works on him. Very impressive package that he brought to the Legion Sports Festival. He will be stepping on stage at the Olympia again in just a couple weeks. It's kind of crazy to think that everybody in this call out will be at the Olympia in just a couple weeks, but nonetheless, very impressive physique. Definitely a guy to keep an eye out for. He is one of those guys very similar to how Mehdi, if the people who we are all talking about at the Olympia don't show up, it's guys like Lee who can make a name for themselves and kick that door in. This past weekend in Daytona, Florida is where we welcome our next qualified Olympian in Ben Quill Marney. Again, going into the show, there was no question that Ben was the favorite to win this competition. And it's safe to say he did so in dominating fashion. Ben has taken a full year off in order to focus on prioritizing his weaknesses and double downing on his strengths in order to bring a much improved package and hopefully break into that top conversation at the Olympia. Ben has won multiple pro shows, and I don't believe anybody else on this list has even won a pro show. I believe the guy who placed second, who looked phenomenal, by the way, absolutely insane, he placed second in a muscle contest show just last season. So he is definitely somebody to keep an eye out for, because if he keeps running the gauntlet, he is going to significantly improve. He brought that next level of conditioning, very overall great balance, but you can clearly see the differences in terms of an Olympian versus somebody who is still chomping at the bits to get there. And again, it's very simple to say, Ben dominated the show. He's going to collect the data in order to get better for just in 2 weeks. And one thing I love about this, and something that I want to adopt as well, qualifying early gives you a lot of time. So if you really think about it, Ben is really prepping for one time of the year right now. He's prepping for the Olympia timeframe, right? If you qualify just before or just after, you then have a full year to continue to improve. And Ben is somebody who's very much under his weight cap and has a lot of room to grow into his prime version of himself. So with that added time that he's now given himself till next year, if he decides to take it, guys, keep your eye out, because he has what it takes to be a top guy. He has the structure, right? He has the detail. He has the balance from front to back. Just fine tunes before you know it, he's going to be in that conversation. When Ryan Terry won the Olympia, it felt like we all won the Olympia. And when I say that, I mean the fans, the competitors, and the entire men's physique community as a whole. Why? Because Ryan is not only the most likable and honest and relatable guy, but also is a living proof of never giving up and staying relentless towards your goals, which has inspired thousands, including myself. But after this video created by Goobed, a lot of people began to question the character of our current champion. The day after this video released, I spoke with Ryan on the Men's Physique Radio podcast, and I asked him, can you explain your side of the story? And this is what he said.
I never want to lie to anybody or try and deceive people. And I'm not going to lie. I'm absolutely gutted. I haven't slept all night over it, and I'm devastated that, like, I've always prided myself in like my profession and in my career and how I've portrayed myself. I've tried to be as honest and the person I am. So I've always put my trust in my videographers and just let them do it, and I just post whatever they give me. Yeah.
Now, I've been asked, Alex, how do you feel about Ryan Terry's photoshopping? And guys, I'll be honest, I don't care. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with his actions, but I've had the pleasure to get to know Ryan over the last couple of years, and I can without a doubt say he is one of the most genuine guys in this division, and this doesn't change that. If you're a bodybuilder, you know the feeling of body dysmorphia and never being satisfied with your look. Now, adding the pressure of being a champion on top of that and being the face of the division, I could only imagine. When I saw Ryan Terry take the stage at the 2023 Olympia, that man looked photoshopped in real life. The last thing he needs to do is enhance his look at all, because the one thing about this photo is he's going to have to back it up. And the thing is, he did. Like, he has this whole entire career. Like, he's had to back up what he posts on social media. And one thing that I've realized, guys, and this is something where maybe a reason why I don't take this so heavily, is to me, social media has always been fake. You know, I don't document my entire prep by showing all of my, physique updates and all of these things, because honestly, it doesn't matter what I look like before I step on stage. It matters what I look like on stage. And maybe that's just a reason why I don't personally do it. I know a lot of these guys have business obligations, sponsorship obligations, and so on and so forth, but he's going to have to back it up. And he has. I just think the only thing I would have to sit there and say is, like, the younger people who look up to him, right? I don't want them to feel comfortable them doing it, because if Ryan has to do it, then maybe they have to do it, right? No. At the end of the day, man, social media, people only post their highlights, and it's not real. Like, I've never seen social media as real life at all. And you never know what people are truly going through. Like I said, body dysmorphia is a real thing. And at that top level, I can only imagine how amplified it might be. So we'll see again here in a couple of weeks, but this is not going to change my perspective of who Ryan is. To me, he's a phenomenal champion. He's a phenomenal husband. He is a great business owner. I do believe morally he's a great guy, somebody who I look up to. To me, this doesn't change the perspective of me. I think Ryan is a phenomenal champion and probably the greatest men's physique champion of all time. Jeremy Buendia's return to the stage was the most anticipated and talked about story of the 2023 season. Leading into the show, Jeremy was posting updates that had the world, including myself, thinking he could actually do it. He could actually win his 5th title. But his showing left a lot to be desired. Fast forward, Jeremy tore his Achilles twice, forcing him to take off training and seemingly lose a lot of what he was working for in the 2023 season. A lot even questioning, would last year's Olympia be the last time we ever saw the greatest men's physique champion of all time? And the answer to that is no. In a recent Instagram post, Jeremy stated that he had just completed his first week of his improvement phase with the goal of putting on 15 to 20 pounds leading into January. He then went on to say that he had a few shows in mind for the 2025 season and that this will likely be his last season. So he wants to go out with his head held high, knowing that he maximized his physique and his overall potential. Let's make one thing clear. Jeremy Buendia is the greatest men's physique athlete of all time. And having the pleasure to see Jeremy just 5 weeks out from the 2023 Olympia in person, it was safe to say he was on track to bring the best version of himself to stage. And if he were to nail that peak, he would have been much higher than 8th place. But guys, let this sink in. This is the last season that we will see Jeremy Buendia walk across the stage. And I think these moments are important because I think with the changing of the tide starting to happen, with some of the older generation starting to slowly, get older and make a transition out of the sport, people forget the impact that they've had. And I want you guys to make sure that as you're seeing Jeremy prep, as you're seeing him prepare and go through his ebbs and flows and ups and downs, you guys take it in, because this could be the last time you guys ever see it actually taking place in action. So again, Jeremy Buendia, if you're watching this, brother, thank you for everything you've done for the men's physique division. I cannot wait to see you prep for the 2025 season. You're going to make some noise, man. And again, shock the world. On a recent YouTube video that Sadik posted titled "Reason Why I Stopped Using Steroids," he announced that he will be officially going off of PEDs. Guys, and I want to take a quick second because I recommend everybody to go watch this video. Why? Because it had such a good message that I think a lot of people, especially us young athletes, tend to forget. He went on to say that there's time to push and there's a time to pull back. And bodybuilding sometimes forces us in a tunnel-like vision that then forces us to put everything else around us on the back burner. And watching that, it really hit me. As a young athlete who just kind of only wants to improve and push the envelope and, just reach the goals and the standards that I have for myself. Sometimes it's nice hearing from somebody who's been in the game for a long time to understand the big picture. In the video, he went on to say that PEDs change him. They make him feel not as a Superman, but almost like a supervillain. Like you feel strong, but there's still something off. And that kind of stuck with me, you know, because a lot of times people use and abuse, and then that's what leads them towards the things that we've been seeing over the last handful of years, the deaths in bodybuilding. And I just wanted to include this in here because, guys, it's so important. He was training with Simeon Panda, who, the ironic part about this, you know, video, while saying he was, you know, natural, and that was the big reason why he is deciding to go natural for 6+ months, which, guys, understand it, and I'm sure everybody who is a bodybuilder understands 6 months is a long time, like a very long time. And he's mainly doing this for his mental health. He's mainly doing this so he can prioritize other aspects and how he feels, and again, for his family. You know, investing the time on the front end to be there for his family on the back end. And like I said, this is a message that I think needs to be explained and expressed so much more, you know? So honestly, hopefully this did not clickbait people in terms of emphasizing that, oh my God, he's going off steroids and it's such a bad, it's a good thing. Honestly, it's a great thing. And it's something that a lot of people should also try to adopt in their careers in order to have as long as a career as Sadik does. Sadik looks phenomenal, man. Like, he does, but he also understands, and he said this very clearly, it's easy to be the best bodybuilder. It's also easy to be the best father. But when you try to be the both, it's damn near impossible. And I think there's seasons, right? I think there's seasons to prioritize being the best bodybuilder, and I think there's seasons to prioritize being the best husband, father, you know, friend, all of these things. But there's a common ground in both. And I think being the best father and being the best husband requires being there for an extended period of time. And making this decision to come off of PEDs for such an exaggerated amount of time, I think this is going to be an investment in the future version of Sadik. And honestly, the current version, the comfortable, happy version. And the coolest part about it all is he's actually making this decision as he already announced the fact that he is making the transition into classic physique. So typically when people are pushing drugs even harder and harder and harder, he's pulling back and he's playing the long game. That's a veteran move. And now that you are caught up on all things men's physique, I want to take a quick second to thank each and every single one of you guys who have recently supported the hero campaign for the Manifest competition wear brand. Guys, as an owner of the business, it's hard to put into words just not only how thankful I am, but more importantly, to actually see the vision that you had being manifested into actual reality. I can't stress that enough, man. We made these board shorts not to make money. We made these board shorts to truly elevate the men's physique division and add value in ways that other brands aren't doing by simply enhancing your look on stage, not just by the designs, but also by the fit, the material, and also the way that we cut the shorts in order to make you stand out on stage. I'm telling you guys right now, investing in the Manifest competition wear brand is investing in the best version of you stepping on stage. So guys, if you haven't already, if you have an upcoming show, you have a show that you're competing for in the future, right? I'm telling you guys right now, because we do not restock designs, make sure you go shop the hero campaign, because these are the best board shorts out. I can promise you that. If you are looking for a coach, this will be the last week that I'm accepting clients before I completely shut down my onboarding process as I go into the Olympia prep. So all you guys have to do is click the link below, and I can promise you guys this. The process will not be easy. I'm going to raise the standard of what you think is a heightened version of you. But my job is to maximize your potential, and I can promise you this. I will do that. I cannot wait, whether you guys want to turn pro, step on stage for the first time, shut it down and grow for the 2025 season, lifestyle client, it doesn't matter. I'm going to help you become the best version of you. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.